Welcome back to Will&SPORTS, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very exciting video. Is it actually Will&SPORTS? I'm not quite sure because there's no sport I've seen lately. So it's your time to question whether it's Will&SPORTS. Is it actually Will&SPORTS? It's actually not Will&SPORTS. I'll get you to vote in the comment section, but there's no way to vote. So leave that behind. Moving on to today's topic of the video. Today, we are going to be talking about sports, even though it's not on. And guess who we're going to be talking about, ladies and gentlemen? The one man in the world who's doing an atrocious job managing a sports league. That sounds pretty interesting. You probably already know who I've been talking about. Today we're going to be talking about Gillion McLaughlin, who is the CEO of the AFL. And I've written a little Dear Gillion McLaughlin, get out speech for him. Or maybe it's just a Get Gillion McLaughlin out speech. Anyway, make sure you go and like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. If you're new around here, make sure you definitely go right back to the start and watch all my videos and give them a big like. And don't comment because you can't. I'm very sorry about that. YouTube have cut me off that for some strange reason. But moving on. Today, we're going to talk about Gillion McLaughlin. We've already established that. Let's get cracking. The AFL for the past 5 years has been going terribly wrong. Thank you, Gillion. That's your fault. The employment of the CEO, Gillion McLaughlin, was the worst possible choice for the AFL, which reflects the brilliant game over the last few years. What you might be wondering is why on earth has Gillion McLaughlin done what? Sorry, redo that. What has Gillion McLaughlin done to deserve me ranting and raving about how bad Gillion McLaughlin is? Well, that's a very good question actually. And here in my hot little hands, I have the answers to these questions to hear me continually ranting and raving about how bad Gillion McLaughlin is. Let's get this show on the road, shall we then, ladies and gentlemen? Gillion McLaughlin actually allowed round 1 of the AFL to start. For starters, round 1 was all going to be very exciting before this whole coronavirus started. We're going to have Carlton versus Richmond. Bloody hell, that's exciting on its own. And Gold Coast versus Port Adelaide. That's not exciting, but still a great start to round 1. And I'm pretty confident the debutants for Gold Coast, which did play, would have been much more happier with at least some fans there to support the Gold Coast Suns. And I'm pretty sure they'd all be much happier with fans. So, my advice to Gillion McLaughlin is, get out and let Will choose. No, seriously. You shouldn't have started the AFL League anyway this year, because it's not safe. The travel systems now, the coronavirus is impacted, and on the Saturday, when North Melbourne and Saints played, they already knew the travel system was going to be atrocious. And that week, the Dockers still travelled to Melbourne, and still played. Now, that doesn't sound very right. No, it definitely doesn't, Will. And one of the big things that also happened in round 1, aside from a few very close games, crikey, we watched basically the whole round, was some jaw-droppingly close games and some nail-biters. If you've got any way to watch them, crikey, do watch them, because they were bloody close. Not the Gold Coast game or the Bulldogs game, don't watch those. Anyway, 3 players for North Melbourne were injured in round 1, which just goes to show that Gillion McLaughlin does not have a scrap of care in the world for players' safety or health. Clearly not, because 3 players injured. If you go and watch back those injuries, they're pretty bad injuries. Josh Walker, who was terribly injured in the first 14 minutes. Just thinking about it, that's just not good. Said he's alright, which is good to hear. And in that game overall, there were 4 injuries in one game. We got 3 from North and 1 from St Kilda. If that was a normal season, North Melbourne fans would be going off their heads. Like, oh, we've got all the injuries in the world. Crikey, actually, to be fair, you do. you have a lot of injuries now. Thank goodness the AFL have decided to postpone the season. But it shouldn't have started in the first place. So, simples. Don't start the season. Wait till next year. Give Richmond a year that they're the champions. That no one can compete them because they can't. It's not health and safety. Health and safety, is that a word? Probably not, but we'll go with it anyway. Possible to play out a season. And I'm sure that however many fans, however many different the 18 teams have, would much rather see their side live and at the game than from a TV screen. Most people get very excited at the TV, and I'm pretty definitely sure their TVs have been broken because of the AFL. I don't know this, but I reckon it would have been, because sometimes the games do get pretty exciting. Me being involved with one of them in the GWS 1 point loss. They lost, we won. 1 point win. Sorry, start that again. The Bombers 1 point win over the Giants, which was so exciting, and I was bouncing up and down. And Mum, silly Mum, decided to stay home, and Dad took her place, and Dad would have been so grateful that Mum stayed home. That day was election day, so Mum wanted to find out the election scores on the TV, but Dad would have been so grateful that Mum gave up her place for him, because that game was a thriller. If that was the only game Dad went to, which he didn't go to too many, he would have been so grateful. That's the game you want to see. It wasn't exactly the best quality game, but it was an exciting game, and we got a great result in the end. And that is definitely a game to remember. What's not a game to remember is the Dogs game against the Bombers. That's not a good game. Anyway, back to Gillion McLaughlin. We've got a note here that says he's a money bag, grabbing hog. He is. That is exactly what it is. There is no better word to describe him. Gillion McLaughlin has pocketed off the players 79% of second half of the players' AFL pay, because apparently they've already been paid for the first half. They got their whole 100, but their second half, almost all of it is gone. And I don't believe the umpires, as much criticism the umpires do get, I don't think they get paid at all now. None of the board of directors at the AFL, none of the people at the AFL have been cut, which really annoys me, because AFL is the only sport in the world where they don't have one team, don't have any other contact with any other team in the league. They train by themselves with their team, no contact with any of the other 17 teams, work so hard for their games. As much criticism and as much pressure they get put under in the season, as much terrible things that get said throughout the season, they are still work 100%. They give still 100%, even when you're a Gold Coast Sun and you're going terribly. I had to use you, Gold Coast. You've not won a premiership. You've pretty much finished last every season. They still give their 100% and they still fight till the very, very death. And that is what we love to see in sports. That is what we love to see, and we still will going to see. Gillion McLaughlin has meanly, is that a word? It is now, cut the money from them, which is terrible. What he's also not done, it also says, you might be wondering what he's done, or more to the point, not done. This is one of the things he's not done. He's not created a Tasmanian AFL team. Now, you probably all know this because I've said it in every video. I have a whole channel dedicated to creating a Tasmanian AFL team. I have a whole petition on change.org which by the way is a fantastic website. If you want a petition done, you better go and check them out. You better go and check them out because they're absolutely amazing. You should definitely go and sign all my petitions. I've got a whole petition that wants a Tasmanian AFL team. However, only 5 people have gotten on board. My target was, when I created this, was at about, when I first was in Tasmania, get to 100 people on the petition by my birthday, which is only 2 months, or 2 months? Just under 2 months away now. I'm not criticising you, whoever's watching and hasn't signed, but if you could sign, that would mean the world to me. That would mean I have someone or some more people that are behind me, that feel the same way as me. And you guys are legends if you do sign the petition. And more importantly, do subscribe to my second channel. Do definitely do that. Link is in the description. It will be once I've posted this video. We got a whole army. We're going to create a whole army that want a Tasmanian AFL team. And if Gillion McLaughlin wants to be a money bagging, grabbing something hog, you create a Tasmanian AFL team because Tasmanians support the AFL the most. There's no other sport, cricket, rugby, soccer, football, if you want to call it that get behind AFL like Tasmania. So, you can make a Tasmanian AFL team. Have we got anything else on the list? Yes. Gillion McLaughlin, the money he doesn't spend it. He's too afraid to spend money on a Tasmanian AFL team, but what he doesn't realise, if he's smart, he thinks to himself, I spend the money, but over a longer period of time, I'll get more money from ticketing. That's genius. Why doesn't he do it? That's the point here. He's too afraid to spend money on everything, not just Tasmanian AFL team. I don't personally know who is to replace Gillion McLaughlin. What I do know is Gillion McLaughlin is not the person for the job. I'm a male, but what I need is a female. Our first female CEO of the AFL. Because females actually have some sense and actually think about things, apparently, more than males do. I agree with it, kind of. So we need a female CEO of the AFL who can actually think and actually run a league correctly. Gillion McLaughlin is probably one of the high on the list of worst CEOs is the AFL. And when he rants he doesn't rant, he says, we're going to make the AFL a safe environment. Yeah, fair enough. You've made it a safe environment, but now people are whinging because it's too safe. They're overprotective. You've already got security guards standing in the aisles, just patrolling the area. But now, going over and just going in between the laneways, that's going a bit over the top, I reckon. We might have went a bit too far with that last sentence, but to be honest, he doesn't need patrolling. He doesn't need stewards or safety guards or whoever patrolling the aisles, going up and down the aisles. It's not necessary. It's not a necessary thing the AFL need to do. And he did apologise to the fans that didn't think it was safe, but it's not good enough. He needs to create a better system. In particular, now that I mention it, I don't know what it's called, but it's the tribunal, basically. If someone does something stupid in the AFL, so if someone hits a late punch or does something terrible, it's where the players go to see if they can challenge a suspension. That is complete rubbish. when you get players that have done nothing all the way over there, and when you get players like Toby Green, who does everything every week, that don't get suspended over there, the system is complete rubbish. So he needs to find a new system. And I don't know who else is behind that, but they need to be sacked immediately. Because the AFL is not going in the right direction with them in the control. So, hashtag Gillion McLaughlin out, hashtag Tassie Afl team, hashtag Will&SPORTS, hashtag see you all later. Like and subscribe, follow my other channels, sign all my petitions. Hope you have a bloody brilliant weekend. I'll be probably back on Sunday to do a video on, I'll touch just briefly on this now, but about the fact that I'm not going to support a league team in football. I'm not going to support a Premier League team, a Championship team, League 2 team, or a League 1 team. I'm only going to support the non-league. We'll touch on that on Sunday, but for now, that's all from me. Make sure you have a bloody brilliant weekend. I don't know what you'd all be doing because coronavirus is terrible at the moment. But anyway, be safe, have fun at home. And that's all from me.